Hello, this is Uncle Jim. In the previous video, my son put a light rail on his AKV gas tube. He actually bought an extra gas tube, so he didn't affect the stock part. And it was cheap and it works great, it fits good. And so he did this to put a light mount on his AKV and then fusion welded it with the TIG. And all I have to do is spray this to make it all look good. Now I could just do this end and maybe the back. I think he said some kind of silver was showing through here. Maybe it's these bits. I could just do that with the airbrush, but I might just do the whole thing. This looks like it's kind of a satin finish. So I grabbed some satin gun coat here. And I really like using gun coat for small projects because it's not a two-part. I have Duracoat and Cerakote. However, you got to mix those. It's like an epoxy, and once you use it, you got to chuck whatever's left over. Where the beauty of this for small projects is, anything you got left over in your airbrush, you just pour it back in the container. And I've had this about 8 years. It's got a long shelf life. It has a ball bearing in there like a rattle can, and you just shake it up. All right, so for this stuff, what I like to do is pre-warm the part. First, you degrease everything, you know, brake cleaner, acetone, and then pre-warm the part. And what I like to do to really make it work good is wipe it down while it's warm with acetone one more time because the pores are open. And then I warm it up again. You can use a heat gun or put it in your powder coat oven for a minute. And just get it warm enough, you know, so you can just 120 degrees or whatever, just so you open those pores a little bit and then spray it. And then you can, what I love about it, you can hit it with the airbrush or you can hit it with the heat gun and it's dry to the touch. You can handle it and put it in the oven, and then you bake it at, about 325 degrees for an hour, okay? Kind of like powder coating. And once it comes out of there, it's really durable. So I kind of liken this stuff to a really super durable powder coat, but a little better. I don't know what they have in there. They say they have some moly or Teflon, depending on which you get. Which also acts as a lubricant. So we're going to try this today just so I can get this done. Nice little fun project. Here's a Ruger MK2 I did, which was a range gun. And I did it two-tone so it's shiny on top and it's more matte, different color on the bottom. That's like an OD green. But as you can see, if you do it right, you're not messing with the lettering. It looks like factory. Okay, so Uncle Jim's been a very naughty, naughty boy. And a lot of times on quick projects, I don't thoroughly clean my airbrush. I'll just clean out the jar there and just run acetone through it and call it a day and put it away wet. But the needle is a little funky, so we're gonna wipe that down. And then, since it wasn't baked, it will clean off with acetone. This is acetone based, the gun coat is, so it's fine. You can thin it if you want with acetone. If you want to flatten it a little bit, like the frame on my Ruger, and give a different sheen and color. But I like to buy US made airbrushes cheap at thrift stores or pawn shops versus like a Harbor Freight. They're just so much better. And this one's 10 years old. Okay, I had to replace the tube because it got eaten. That's a chainsaw tube in there. So there's that. So I'll just wipe this down real quick and we'll see how it goes. But yes, you can buy, here's a Brinks. Here's a Brinks we got at a thrift store. $15 with all those jars. I've never used it, but I'll save that for a good project. All right, so keep an eye out there. Now for the compressor, I'm just using the cheapo Harbor Freight compressor. I've had that 10 or 15 years and it's worked great. So that's fine. It's got a trap on it for moisture. Okay. And I kind of got something on here, so I can't totally read the PSI, but hey, it works great. Just turn it on, plug and play, all right? It's simple. All right, let me clean this up, put that away, and then I have some cardboard here on my powder coating bench so I don't mess it up. And then the backer, in case I want to hold the tube upright, I can spray against that. Okay, I just put a little acetone on a rag, clean the needle, and that's good enough for now. I've always treated this like a red-headed stepchild, but it's still kicking, it still works fine. To do it right, take a TV dinner tray or microwave tray, put some acetone in it, drop all your parts in there, wipe them down, and then put everything away. But I don't do that. For 10 years, I've done it this way. And it works fine. Okay, so I sprayed my son's gas tube and it came out too shiny. And so we're just gonna go to matte finish here. It might be a little dull, but it won't blind you. All right, we're just going with that. This time I'm gonna use the Brinks airbrush that he got for $15 with all the containers and accessories, even the hose. Now this fitting didn't fit my other hose and I couldn't find the adapter. I probably have it somewhere. Oh well. So we're using the one that came with it, which is plastic. In the cold, it's not so good. Also, on your pumps, you got a place to put your airbrush. Well, that doesn't fit, just like my last one. So I made a makeshift container here to hold it so it didn't fall off the table. So I did a few passes with it. I haven't used this one before. It's super easy, but you got to adjust. And so when you get to your final spray, use like a jar or something shiny like this tin here, so you know what your pattern's going to look like. So that's what it's going to look like. I think it's going to be a little too flat for his gun, but hey, what the hell. It won't blind you, all right? I guess that's it. And we'll see how this is working for the first time. I did a pattern here and a pattern here. What I like about this is it's easier to adjust. You got your material flow, and then you got a little wheel here to adjust your airflow, which I think is super easy, and I love the brass. Look at that retro. And yes, I'm not wearing gloves because I'm a man. All right. Okay, the part is preheated in the oven, a powder coat oven. I got a makeshift stand here, and I know what part I can touch that won't show. All right, so I'm just giving her a first coat, get all the nooks and crannies, and I'll show you the best I can. It's a weird camera angle because it's in my way. All right. Okay. And then when you turn your pump off, make sure to hit your trigger to release the air. Okay, that's how it's looking so far. I do like this airbrush better. My last one was wearing out big time and stupid easy. Okay, go super light and do several passes, especially if you're using matte or satin. And that way you can see all the lettering on your guns and everything. And then I'll just keep flipping this around until I'm happy with it, okay? Okay, I got a first light coat on here, but I wanted to talk to my son because I said, this is gonna be a little more flat. And so I had him grab his hater grader top end and match it to his gun. He says this is slightly shinier than your gun?
A little more gloss.
Okay, so this is gonna go on here, but I think we're okay. I think it's gonna be fine. Otherwise, I just take a little of my other and a little of this and mix it together, but then I gotta pour it back in a container and screw that up. I think we're gonna go with matte. I think that'll be fine. And it's already dry to the touch. And I'm just gonna give it one more light coat. So I do like this airbrush better. My last one was worn out and it started orange peeling a little bit. And if you see any orange peel, that's from the last coating that was too shiny. But this thing, man, I could lay that down like it was glass. All right, I do like this Brinks, this little Brinks here. If you find one for $15 with everything unused, good to go. I think that's my go-to airbrush for now. It's just too simple. Enough rambling, all right. All right, so I had him bring out the gun and he says that's fine, it'll work. Hold it closer to this.
It actually goes with the flat that's on the muzzle brake.
All right, I think that'll work. You don't want shiny up front anyway. All right.
Bitch.
Bitch. Your dad out here freezing in the snow. I got plowing to do. Son of a bitch. Now we could also do this, but I would rather have the two-tone with the sheens. All right. And he's in agreement, so I'm done. One little light coat and I'm done. Make sure to get, all areas when you airbrush and then finish off, okay?
And remember, good enough is best.
No, good enough is never good. Always do your nooks and crannies first and then blow the whole thing off and it'll work out. Never dink around with little, always do the tiny crap first. The rail's the hardest. You gotta go this way, this way, under. If you get what I mean. All right. Yeah, I think that'll be fine. This is shinier than the rest of his gun. That was aftermarket.
Good enough is best, like your bullet molds.
I think that'll be fine. All right, take that with you, boy. I want to get inside. Okay, I'm just going to give it a final coat here after I got all the nooks and crannies. And fortunately, I have a powder coating oven right next to me, and this is my powder coating bench. But if you don't have that, you can use a heat gun and warm up the part, and then when you go to touch it, hit it with the heat gun and it'll be dry to the touch, okay? And then, if you have to, make a little makeshift stand here so you can move it around and just put it in the oven this way so you don't mess up anything. It's pretty simple. Okay, so that only took a few minutes for 2 coats, and you can hit it with the heat gun and you dry it out or so you can touch it and lift it, but in this case I got a jig to hold it. I bring it over to my powder coating oven here, stick it in there, and they say 325 for at least an hour. An hour is fine, and you will not be able to take that off with any solvents. You would have to sandblast that off to refinish. All right. Okay, so what I love about gun coat finish is, unlike the 2-part, you're gonna have to throw your excess away. As you can see, I hardly used anything in here. It only took, I didn't even fill this jar full, and you can see how much I have left. The beauty about this is you can pour it back in and use it next time. And that's what I love about that. And it's very durable. So while that's baking in the oven, I'll clean out the airbrush. I'll run a few patches and clean this out. and my gasket, and then I'll run some acetone through it. Acetone will clean everything up. As you can see, my jar is old and I should have wiped that down with acetone, but Poppy's a little sloppy. All right, so this new Brinks, I'm gonna make sure I get that gasket good and wipe her all down with a rag and acetone, clean out the jar, and then we'll spray some acetone through it and we're good to go. Okay, so we got some acetone on a rag. I want to clean that gasket really good. I like to use a little screwdriver here. All right. Get around that really good. Get the stem good. And then we're going to run acetone through the airbrush to put it away. Okay, you know the drill. All right. Then we get our jar. Same thing, little screwdriver, clean out your jar, and then run some acetone through it to clean all the pipes. You guys know about cleaning your pipes, right? Clean your pipes. You always want to clean your pipes. Okay, we'll put a little acetone in the jar, shake it up really good, and run her through. Actually open her up a bit. All right, make sure your air hole, there's a little air hole on your airbrush. Make sure that air hole is clean. All right. And then what I'll do is wipe her down one more time and give it a little bit of clean acetone and finish her off. But the gasket, the air hole, and everything is clean. You definitely want your little air hole on your airbrush to work good. Now in this case, I don't have a needle, and I kind of like that. The other airbrushes I have needles, and you got to take them apart and clean everything. But this is just air. Or it's just material and air. So it's super easy, you can't screw it up. Keep it simple, stupid. All right, so I really like this airbrush, so I'm not gonna treat it like a red-headed stepchild like my others. And we'll give it a final douche of acetone after everything's been wiped down again. My part's still not even close to being done. So, make sure that air hole gets clean. See the air hole leak? Yeah, baby. Take care of your air holes. All right. Good to go. Okay, so this came fresh out of the oven and you can throw it on your gun right now because it's cured. Once it's cured, nothing can attack it. Any solvent, you're gonna have to sandblast that thing off to get the finish off. Okay, so my son approves with the sheen, and I think it looks pretty good. All right, and it was quick and easy. It doesn't have to be complicated, people. And if you put it on light, you can see all your lettering and everything like I showed you before. And this actually turned out pretty good for a monkey in a cold garage with it snowing outside. So you can get this, unlike blued guns, which will rust. All you steel and wood guys like to talk about your steel and wood, but you never go out in the bad environments. This can take it. This can take salt water, everything. And they actually have a polished blued finish you can get. I have like brushed stainless steel and different colors, and it works awesome. And you would never know. So if you got a beater piece of crap gun, buff it down, sand it down a little bit, lightly, and heat it and do what I did, and you're gonna have a brand new freaking gun that's gonna last and take care of the elements. It's gonna look good. This turned out pretty good, I guess, for the sheen. And you don't have to worry about it like you would with a blued gun or a stainless gun. You don't have to worry about it. It's a very good finish, I think. And it's stupid easy, okay? This only took a few minutes to do, other than baking. And, you know, you don't have to make things complicated. It's just like casting or reloading. People make things so complicated. It's stupid easy if you do it right. All right, I guess that's it for the video. I thought I'd share this with you while I'm in the cold garage here. And my son approves, so I'm happy. Until next time, thanks for watching.